Alright, so I recently got a suit from a friend of mine who, didn't feel very happy with the price that he paid for the quality that he got out of the suit, which was abysmal. I will tell you now, it was abysmal. You'll see in this next video, I'm just brushing him out. He looks alright from far away, but up close, he had a lot of flaws, and I'm finding them around this point. Well, a lot of them I'm pointing out, but I'm not putting the audio in, just speeding it up for you guys. But he needed a good brush, so I gave him that, and then it was kind of pointless later on. But he was almost entirely glued. Every seam was glued, and he had a lot of Velcro that was glued over, and the ears were probably the only thing sewn on this suit. You can see me pointing out the glue here. So I decided at this point to start doing a teardown, to take him apart. So that's what we're going to do next. Yeah, he was not the quality that I would expect a $700 suit to, or a $700 price tag to come with. And granted, the original owner of this suit back in 2023 commissioned him for $300, and even they said it's not worth $300, and I have to agree. As you can see, the hair was, I'm chatting in the video there, but I'm not putting the audio in once again. He had these little muzzle spots. They were 3D printed discs that they just kind of glued on, so I ripped those off. The hair was, funny enough, it was Velcroed, so it was Velcro removable, and then they just glued over the Velcro. I'm like, why? The nose was entirely glued. It was caked with glue, honestly, so I just ripped that out. The lining for the nose was, once again, it was solid, so it was painful to put your hand through. Nobody wanted to touch that. So I'm like, alright, we're taking this whole thing out, and you can see I struggle a bit here, but honestly, I'm not saying hot glue use makes a suit bad. It's just how you use the hot glue that will make it good or bad. This suit was a bad example, honestly. That red around the eyes, that's not a sewn seam to attach the brown and the red. It's just glued. Here you can see me trying to cut off the Velcro that was, once again, glued to the head. Which, yes, sometimes you do have to glue Velcro to the head, but make sure it's a spot that you won't need to take it off of. And if you do, you have the materials to patch it up. Or it's going to be covered by something that the Velcro will stick to, like a hair tuft. Yeah, I'm just pointing out that, I'm gonna have to fix that up. Cutting off the removable little eye dot piece, I don't know what the point of that was, but I guess it was like a little, there were little like puffs of the eye dot design that would go over the eyes. There were little puffs that would Velcro onto the face. I didn't like that too much, so I was thinking, yeah, I'll take it off and I'll make an actual eyebrow. And then I'm like, oh boy, this is going to take a lot of work. So I ripped out that foam piece that was in the mouth. I don't know why. The teeth were 3D printed, so I could reuse them after I, cleaned them up a bit. And don't judge my unsafe X-Acto knife usage. I'm stupid, and I know. But next, I was like, alright, everything in this mouth has to go. And I just kind of went at it, ripped it out, cut it out, everything I could to get it out of there. It was a hell of a process, I'll tell you that. Look at all that glue. Like, honestly. The base underneath was a cast foam base, so it was actually still usable after I patched it up a bit from the glue ripping out chunks when it, when it came out with the fur. But the lip was one of the hardest things I had to remove. It was just so bad. It sucked. I hated it. And I bought this suit for very, very cheap from my friend, my good friend, who was like, I just want you to take him and do whatever you want with him so that I don't have to deal with him anymore. To sum it up. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take him and give you what are you asking? And he's like, oh, I don't know, $150. And I'm like, I can do that. So I took this guy, his name was Buster. I took him for $150, and here you can see I'm trying to kind of preserve the fur, which later you'll realize it didn't matter. You'll see why. But I bought him for $150 in this state, and basically remade the entire head. in less than 24 hours with the fur and scraps I had on hand. You'll see in the end, but this is basically just a summary of what happened in the teardown and all that garbage. So this is me, I think, pulling out the top lining that was in the mouth. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Which again, it was hell. It was completely caked in hot glue. And I don't even know what to say with the amount of glue. Readjusting my camera because I think I kicked my stand. Showing how much yellow fur I have to actually make the suit. I don't even know what to say for the amount of glue that was used here. That whole muzzle seam for the yellow, I could just rip that out. It was not sewn. There was no, look, there's no seam there that was sewn. I could just tear it out with my hands. And I was like, uh-oh, this does not bode well for the rest of this suit. The fur quality was also not great. I don't know if that's just from general wear and tear from the old owners. I know the original owner, and even they said he was incredibly uncomfortable to wear because of the inner lining of the actual base, where your head goes, because, you know, I'm assessing things here, the side of the cheek, to see what I can cut out. I'll talk about the lining in a bit, but yeah, this was a hell process to do, to tear down. It sucked. And then, you know, assessing everything, taking the eyes out, because, you know, it's a lot easier if I do that. And then, here I am, thinking, oh, I know I have to remove this lining and all that. Let's do our best to cut that out. So I'm cutting at the edge of the lip here, where it's kind of caught in the side, and you'll see why it was caught. The amount of glue I'm showing off the eyes there. The amount of glue I pulled out of that corner of the mouth is absolutely insane. It was maybe like 1.5 inches thick of just glue buildup. And yeah, there was a little bit of foam that got torn off with it. But still, that's like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you can see the trouble I'm having getting that out of there. It just doesn't want to go. And I'm pretty sure this base was a Sam the Canine base, or however they market it on Etsy. Me and a friend determined that. We're pretty sure that's what he is, or what he's built on. So, I mean, it's a good base. I liked it. I liked working with it. And the amount I paid to get all the stuff that he came with, like the eyes, the teeth, and everything already carved, I would have paid about $150 to get that done, I'm pretty sure. So I'm not upset about my money and not having the suit the way it originally looked. But here I am, you know, telling you, the camera, the neck lining, or the neck seam, is completely glued. They didn't sew the neck. They just glued it to the rest of the, like, the other part of the head. Where the seam goes, they didn't sew the seam, they just hot glued it, and then squished it together. And I'm like, oh no. So here I am kind of realizing I'm going to have to do a lot more to this suit than I thought I would. Because I thought maybe the neck would be salvageable. And, you know, the red. And then I quickly realized, no, that's not going to be the case. I'm having trouble tearing that off here. Yep, there it goes. And look at that. It's awful. I had to pause for a second, I think, sometime soon. But yeah, I'm tearing the lining out and just feeling it was awful. It's a thin cotton fabric, and it absorbed all the dollops of hot glue they put in there, and got very, very rough and scratchy, and it sucked. Like, look at that. That was a pure buildup of glue. I'm trying to get it out now. You know, I'm ripping at it with my fingers and doing my best, but like, look at that. That was purely hot glue and, you know, a tiny bit of foam. And, you know, brushing it out just to see what I can do with the rest of it, and then at this point, I kind of realize I can't save this the way it is now, and that's kind of what I'm assessing here, talking to the camera in the original video, brushing it to see if anything would get better, and saying no, so the ears have to go. The ears were the only thing sewn, actually. This is me showing it off, but that's the only part that was sewn on the suit, and maybe a few darts. That was it. So I'm like, I want to save this material, but with the quality of the material and the way it's made, it was not worth doing that. So I was like debating whether I was going to tear the whole face off, and I think at this point I was like, yeah, I kind of have to. I found a magnet too. There's a magnet in the top of the head. So they had a hair tuft glued to the Velcro on top of a magnet. I don't understand the thought process other than I couldn't get the magnet or the Velcro to work, so I stuck it in there with glue. Yeah, that was just glue that was holding it in. Yeah, this is me kind of tearing off the outer edge and then realizing, you know what? It's not worth saving these pieces of low quality fur that is all glued together. So I'm just gonna tear it off. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing here. Just talking about, yep, there we go. Yeah, I kind of just went ham on this base and took everything apart and built it from scratch. Let's see. I'll show you guys the results after, but I just wanted to do this teardown video to show off, you know, what really happened. And the base did get a bit screwed up in the process, but with the amount of glue, it was really unavoidable, and I'm surprised I managed as little damage as I did. I fixed it, obviously. I patched it up and set it back together. That's me getting my glue gun so I can fix things, I'm pretty sure. As you can see, part of the base comes right off with that, and I had to pull it off the glue-stained fur so I could glue it back on to the base later and wrap it up in some fabric to keep it from falling apart. And yeah, the base was so damaged by the end of this. Yeah, there's me trying to fix it. But yeah, that was quite an endeavor, and I will say I'm kind of proud of the fact that I managed to get this done in such a short amount of time. It took me less than 24 hours to do, and he's some of my top quality now. I named him Bruiser from Buster. He's some of my top quality now, and he's fun to wear. He looks nice. Everything is sewn. I only glued where I had to. And yeah, I'll put a little showcase in here that I did on my TikTok. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that teardown.